Hey all, Amanda here, and welcome to American Ninja Warrior, Season 10. Here's your recap for Episode 1, the Dallas Qualifiers. This is where anyone who wants to try out can wait in line for their chance. The top 30 who finish the course, or go the furthest the fastest, move on to the city finals. In this season, we also see the return of the women's list, where in the qualifying round, the top 5 women advance. A new addition to ninja competition this season is the age requirement to participate has been lowered from 21 to 19, introducing a whole new batch of hungry young ninjas. So here we go with the first group of qualifiers. To advance in the city finals, competitors must first complete the following 6 obstacles. First up are the floating steps. Competitors must jump back and forth to 5 floating steps, 6 feet apart, leading to a rope that they must jump to catch and swing to a landing. Next is catch and release. Competitors must jump to a vertical swinging bar and hook its support bar, locking it in place. They then jump to a second vertical moving bar. They must swing and then jump to a cargo net. Next is the bouncing spider. Competitors run and jump off a trampoline, propelling themselves towards 2 walls that they must land between and travel forwards until they reach the halfway point and a gap that they must jump over and above, reaching a second trampoline that they must navigate to reach several hanging pipes that they must then swing to reach the landing. Next are the tuning forks. Competitors must test their agility as they run across 3 rotating tuning fork-shaped obstacles, making it to the other side. Next is crank it up. This consists of 3 sets of separate handles and a lache bar, where competitors must jump to the first set of handles and crank the handles up and back until the handles move forward, allowing them to transition through the course. And another new addition is the Mega Warped Wall. Competitors now have a choice between 2 warped walls. The standard 14.5-foot wall returns, along with the addition of a new 18-foot Mega Wall. Competitors may now try once to reach the top to receive a $10,000 prize. If they miss their only chance to scale the Mega Wall, they then have 1 remaining chance to climb atop the regular warped wall and hit the buzzer to advance. The top 30 to advance are Daniel Gill, who finished with a time of 1:40.79. Daniel's a worship leader, singer, and trainer at Sam Sands Iron Sports Gym, who first competed in Season 7. There were several attempts at the Mega Warped Wall, and Daniel was the first and only to complete the Mega Warped Wall and receive the $10,000 prize. Next is Matthew Day, who finished with a time of 2:09.62. Debuting this season, Matthew is a kinesiologist student who attempted and failed the Mega Wall, but succeeded in hitting a buzzer on the regular Warped Wall. His run was cut. Next is Josh Salinas, who finished with a time of 2:21.30. A ninja coach from Houston, he first competed in Season 3. Josh attempted the Mega Wall, but failed to complete it. His run was cut. Next is Mathis, the Kid Awadi, who finished with a time of 2:36.59. Debuting this season, the Kid is a business student who has competed in American Ninja Warrior, Ninja vs. Ninja. He attempted the Mega Wall but failed. Next is Thomas Stillings, who finished with a time of 2:38.88. Thomas is a parkour instructor and a gym owner who debuted in Season 7. Thomas attempted the Mega Wall but failed. His run was cut. Next is Jeremiah Morgan, who finished with a time of 2:41.27. He competed in Season 6 and 7 with his father and brother, but took 2 years off and returned last year. He attempted the Mega Wall but failed to complete it. Next is Andrew Swinghammer. He finished the course with a time of 3:27.14, but his run was cut and he was not mentioned by the show. At the time of recording, I could not find a picture. Next is Abel Gonzalez, who finished with a time of 3:52.26. Abel's a personal trainer and public speaker who debuted in Season 6. He attempted the Mega Wall but failed to complete it. Next is Tyler Humphrey, who finished with a time of 4:12.67. Tyler's an art student. His run was cut. Next is Kevin Jordan, who finished with a time of 4:29.18. His run was cut. Next is Tremaine Dortch. who finished with a time of 4:38.73. Tremaine is a personal trainer from Houston and has competed in every season since 4. His run was cut. Next we have Mike Murray, who finished with a time of 4:45.67. Mike's an oil field sales manager whose run was cut. He attempted the mega wall, but failed to complete it. Next is John Stewart, who finished with a time of 5:43.61. John's a construction manager who debuted on Season 5. John is the oldest competitor to complete a city qualifying at age 56. Next is Ven Johns, who failed at the warped wall with a time of 3:48. Ven's a professional bull rider who first competed last year. He attempted the mega wall, but failed to complete it. He also failed to climb the regular warped wall, missing hitting a buzzer to complete the course. Next is Andrew Lowe's, who failed on Crank It Up with a time of 1:20.86. Andrew is a gymnast who debuted in Season 4, and his run was cut. Next is Nate Burkhalter, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 1:27.47. Nate is an oil and gas engineer who waited in the walk-on line for 3 years before getting chosen to compete in Season 8. His run was cut. Next is Steven Tucker, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 1:46.56. His run was cut and was not mentioned by the show. Next is Chris Camber, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 1:48.26. Chris is a fishing shop manager. Next is Josh Norton, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 1:48.98. His run was cut and was not mentioned by the show. At the time of recording, I could not find a picture. Next is Adam Sturr, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 2:07.13. Adam's a sports trainer. His run was cut. Next is Dylan Lancaster, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 2:30.18. His run was cut and he was not mentioned by the show. At the time of recording, I could not find a picture. Next is Victor Gonzalez, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 2:33.18. Victor is a pipe fitter. Next is Louis Moore, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 2:52.04. Louis is a hip-hop teacher, and his run was cut. Next is Aaron Brown, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 3:06.43. His run was cut, and he was not mentioned by the show. At the time of recording, I could not find a picture. Next is Karen Wilton, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 3:48.91. Karen's a physician's assistant. Next is Quest O'Neill, who failed at Crank It Up with a time of 3:57.48. Quest is a waitress. Next is Karsten Williams, who failed at the tuning forks with a time of 42.40. Karsten's a personal trainer. Next is Brent Stephenson, who failed at the tuning forks with a time of 49.52. Brent is a gym owner. Next is Brian Burkhart, who failed at the tuning forks with a time of 52.20. Brian's a law student. His run was cut. And lastly, Elliot Jolivet, who failed at the tuning forks with a time of 56.60. His run was cut. The top 5 women advancing are Karen Wilton and Quest O'Neill, who made the top 30, as well as Barclay Stockett, who failed on the tuning forks with a time of 1:30.32. Barclay's a gymnastics coach. Next is Brittany Hanks, who failed on the tuning forks with a time of 2:05.65. Brittany's a lab technician. Her run was cut. And lastly, we have Kat Ratcliffe, who failed on the bouncing spider with a time of 48.73. Kat's a police officer. So there you have it, our top Dallas Ninjas who will be advancing to the city finals. Up next, the LA qualifiers and another new batch of competitors. Until then, let me know what you think of the show. Did any of your favorites return this year? Are there any newcomers you're already cheering for? Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time from LA, bye for now.